In this video, we will discuss completing a transfer redetermination form. A transfer redetermination form is a form that is only available for students who have transferred to your district from a school outside of your district, outside of the state of Georgia, or outside of the country. The redetermination form is required for students who have entered your district with information indicating that they are a student that receives special education services, but you do not have complete information. I am on the timelines page of this student. When you look at the referral reason, you see on the left that it says transfer from another system. The transfer form has already been completed. The blue link on the right says View Transfer Student. If we click on the View Transfer Student link, we can see that the student transferred from a school in the United States of America, that the system indicated that there was some information indicating the student was a student that received special education services, but that the district did not have complete and current information. Below that section is a section that indicates the area that the student was eligible for services in special education. For this student, the areas of moderate intellectual disability and speech or language impairment have been selected. The district did not decide to accept or honor an IEP from the previous school district. When I click on Timelines again, I am able to go and begin my initial IEP because we did not accept the IEP from the previous district, and I am also able to do the redetermination form for a transfer student. In order to start the redetermination process, I will select the blue link on the right. When I selected my link, it took me to a meeting notice. We are not going to complete the meeting notice at this time. Please note that the redetermination meeting purpose is listed and it says redetermination, consider the need for reevaluation. For further information regarding completing a meeting notice, please see the meeting notice video. In order to go ahead and complete my redetermination form, I will select the Eligibility tab. When I selected the Start Redetermination link on the Timelines page, it made my redetermination form available. Please notice that the eligibility type says Initial Transfer Redetermination. In order to open the redetermination form, I will select the link on the left that says View Update. The date as well as my status is listed at the top, and there is a drop-down box for me to enter any data that I have regarding the student. In order to make a selection, I would pick one of these areas from the drop-down box and select Add Data. A box opens and I am able to enter any information I know regarding the student. For this demonstration, I have entered data for this student in 5 areas. The areas that I selected are directly correlated to the eligibility areas that we are discussing. This student was eligible in 2 areas, moderate intellectual disability and speech language impairment. Therefore, I've entered data for achievement, adaptive behavior, observation, psychological information, and speech and language information. Because this is a transfer student and you do have incomplete information, you would just fill in as much information as is available at the time. Please note that this information should support strengths and weaknesses for the student in all areas selected. At least 3 areas are required to be completed during this process. Now that I've completed my 5 areas, I'm going to go down where it says the IEP team makes the following recommendations. You have two options that you can select. The first one says no additional testing is needed and the student is no longer eligible for any disability. This option is only available for students who you have supported in the data section that they are working on grade level and there is no longer an educational impact for this student. Option B says student is still eligible for disabilities. If I select option A, you will see that it says the student is no longer eligible for any disability and it puts the eligibility meeting date. This date is not editable. This form is designed to be completed in the midst of an eligibility meeting with the parents to discuss whether the student remains eligible for services or not. If I select option B, it says the student does continue to have educational needs that require the provision of special education and related services and continues to exhibit characteristics that support continued eligibility under categories selected below. At this point, if the student has demonstrated progress in one area where there may be an indication that the student is no longer eligible in that area, however, he may still have deficits in the other area, you are able to say he is no longer eligible in one area. So for this example, I could deselect speech and indicate that he is still eligible only in the area of moderate intellectual disability. However, for this example, I'm going to say that the student is still demonstrating characteristics that support eligibility in both areas. Below my eligibility areas, you see that there is a box that says additional assessment. Additional assessment is being requested in order to support continued eligibility status. We must gather data in order to support our decision. Therefore, on a transfer redetermination form, you are required to click the additional assessment box and complete a comprehensive evaluation of the student. When you click the additional assessment box, you will get areas that you can check for the assessment team to look into while completing the evaluation process for this student. This is helpful because we have incomplete information from the previous district and it will guide evaluators with next steps. For this student, we're going to select adaptive skills, intellectual functioning, reading comprehension, cognitive processes, and math reasoning. Now that I've selected some areas that the assessors can look at while doing the comprehensive evaluation, I can save my redetermination form. I will get a message that says that the transfer redetermination form has been successfully saved and I can audit it. I got my message that says my audit was successful. I am now given the opportunity to write any meeting notes. However, meeting notes are not required. We do recommend that meeting notes are completed on a Word document outside of Go IEP and then cut and pasted into the meeting notes box that you see here. Then I will select all the people that attended the meeting and I will select the forms that I provided to the parent. At the top, you see that there is a link for me to print the consent to reevaluate form. We must complete the form in order to obtain the consent to complete the comprehensive evaluation that we have discussed. When you select this link, a PDF is opened for your consent to evaluate form. Please note the date that the form was created will print on the form. So if the form is not given to the parent on the date that the initial transfer form was completed in Go IEP, it will indicate the date that you printed it and gave it to the parent. Now that I've selected my attendees and what forms I gave the parent, I'm going to save my outcome and finalize my redetermination. I will get a message that says any edits that need to be made by any team member must be completed prior to finalizing. Edits will not be able to be made after the redetermination is finalized. Are you sure you are ready to finalize? I will select yes and save. You will note that now my checkboxes are no longer editable. The transfer redetermination form has been finalized. If I return to my timelines page, you'll see that I have a link that says Start Re-Eligibility. Now that we have consent to do an evaluation and we have completed the transfer redetermination form, we will use this link in order to enter the information from the comprehensive reevaluation and move forward with eligibility for the student. This completes our discussion of transfer redetermination form.